Hey lovelies, welcome back to Reviews and Recaps. Let's talk about Ready to Love Make a Move. Okay, so the episode started with Vern and Mr. Player, Mizell. So Vern asked him if he was still interested in Charisse, and this ninja said yes. Guys, this ninja said yes. Can you believe that? Like 1 minute you're interested in Charisse, then you start moving to Vernicia, and then all of a sudden you're in Vernicia's face talking about, oh, I wish it was Charisse that showed up today. Come on. You're literally playing in Vern's face. I'm glad like Vern did not make you see her sweat. She was just like, yeah, I think I've heard enough. I'm like, yes, girl. Honestly, that made me laugh. I was just like, yes, Vern, just head out. But to be honest, Vern, what did you expect? If you remember, you can see from the way he was trying to play down ever being interested in Vern that is all about the BS. So I expect nothing less from him. But in all fairness to Vern wouldn't have known that that's who they would set her up with. So there was really nothing she could have done. It wasn't like she had a say in the date and said, oh, put me with Mr. Player. Tamika did what Tamika thought was best, and yeah, it was what it was. Now, let's talk about Maurice and Charisse, honey. So Maurice and Charisse went on a date, and he was all up in his confessionals talking about, he would like to go deeper with Charisse. I'm like, okay, now is your opportunity. Like, start talking, right? So at least it sounded like he was talking a little bit more than he had talked previously on the show. Charisse seemed really happy to see him. I was like, okay, well, it's been a while since we saw Charisse look less uptight. So I feel like maybe because Maurice himself is uptight, so they're both uptight. So Charisse does not look like the one that is uptight. Because when I see Charisse on other dates, she just comes across as very uppity and uptight. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not really feeling it, but I'm just like, in all fairness to her, like at the end of the day, if she's all uppity and uptight and Maurice is uptight and it works for them, I love that for them. If he doesn't want to talk and she's cool with that, I love that for them. That's their business. That's their problem. Good thing I don't have to deal with it at all. That's some other person's problem. Now, if you're new to this channel, please make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you like this video and make sure you leave a comment in the comment section below. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for your love and support. I love you. Alrighty, now let's get back into it, honey. One thing I did pick up on this date with Maurice is that Maurice was giving her a lot of compliments, talking about her being a businesswoman, really good at this, being that. And she was definitely thoroughly enjoying it. I noticed like every time he would give her a compliment, he kept looking left. And I was wondering, like, is it because he's trying to think deeply about what he's saying? Or is it because he's trying to make it up and just make it sound believable? Or is it trying to be creative in the compliments that he gives her? And that's why he's looking and thinking. I don't know what the answer is. Let me know what you guys actually think about that. Do you think that he was just trying to get in on her good side after being rejected and removed as Charisse's keeper? Is he like, does that mean he's like trying to get back in Charisse's good grace? I'm very, very curious. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let's talk about Ashley, honey. I know this is why you lot came to listen to me today, most of y'all. Ashley is exhausting. Ashley does not need to be dating nobody right now. Ashley is doing too much. Ashley went on a blind date with Kirsten, and Kirsten gave her a card and some chocolate and roses, and she was smiling ear to ear, talking about it's been a while since she's felt like this before, since someone has done something this nice for her. I'm like, girl, the barest minimum, flowers and chocolate, and now you're like, oh, Kirsten, like, girl, what is your issue? I feel like little gestures like seen as over the top gestures, like that's not cool. When Donald took her out, she was there like, oh, Donald. When Donald showed up to Zadia's party, she was there like, oh, Donald, oh. She even like was in his arms. He carried her and like twirled her around, and she was loving it. And but then now Kirsten is at her face, giving her a card and some flowers, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, I haven't felt like this in a while. Girl, what are you talking about? So then she starts asking him, what is it that you want? I'm like, girl, you're always fishing for compliments. You're always asking these men these things. They don't even know you. They don't even know what they want from you because they don't even know you. They do not know you. And Ashley, I'm speaking to you. Kirsten is playing you. Kirsten just wants to be on the show. He couldn't even show up to Zadia's thing and couldn't tell you why he wasn't going to show up. Right? And so now he's sitting in your face and you're just there like, oh, is it going to be a frequent thing? And Mandem is like, if you act right, let me tell you, girl, he does not care about you like that. He's just there to be on the show to show his face. So the earlier you get that into your head, the better for you, honey. Because the way you're doing these confessionals, it be bothering me because I'm like, girl, are you really, really believing that this guy is about you? Are you really, really believing this game this guy is spitting right now? Even when he looks at you, there is no affection in his eyes. There is nothing. He doesn't even look like he likes you. He doesn't even look like he can stand your ass. And then she tells him that, he's sort of like the guy she usually goes for and blah, blah, blah. And this made me realize that, well, I talked about it last week, but Ashley loves toxicity. Because I've been saying from day one, there's no reason for Ashley to have picked Kirsten at all, especially after they had that conflict. But it seems like she's constantly choosing conflict. And the way she's constantly moving, it's giving the impression of someone who loves conflict and who is into toxic relationships or toxicity in general. So I'm not really a fan of that. And I feel like when you're trying to date, you have to be careful not to be that person that who is still within that heavily toxic space. Let's move on to Zadia. Zadia went on a blind date with someone called Richard. He's a school principal and he was one of the guys that she initially interacted with, but like was trying to ask her like direct questions and she was not feeling him, honey. Now, when I tell you it looks like they were having a lot of fun, they were laughing, Zadia was smiling. She even said that like she actually started to forget about Cam while she was on the date. She didn't even think about Cam when she was on the date, which meant it was a really good day because Zadia, every time she gets the opportunity to go out, she's always talking about Cam or something in relation to Cam. So I'm glad that she was able to actually have a good time. And I feel like the lesson that I feel like I learned from this day is that you need to give people a chance. I think for me, sometimes I'm very quick to like cut people off. Like if we had that first initial interaction, I would be quick to be like, yeah, you ain't never gonna see me again, right? But then look at Zadia. She went on the second date. I know it was imposed on her in a way, but at least she got the opportunity to go on a second date. Some people don't really get that opportunity, right? And she actually got an opportunity to properly speak to him and hear him tell her or speak to her, right? Because then she can know, okay, this is a good fit. This is not. This is something I want to explore further. This is something I want to leave here. Like, I just feel like there's a little bit more rain for her to do that. But yeah, that's what I thought about that. Now let's talk about Ashley and Donald. Ashley, remember I said to you guys, Ashley is very toxic. Ashley brought her toxic ways over to Donald again. And she started talking about, oh, what are your plans for you and me? And he's like, he sees us going forward. First of all, you lot know I don't particularly think Donald is a good fit either. But I think at least Donald comes across better than Kristen. So I would take Donald for now if there's no one else, right? But she told him that someone from her past tried to creep back in and that he needs to step his game up. He did not like that. He was like, oh, he's not competing with anybody. And the thing that Ashley did that really bothered me, which made me feel like, Ashley, you have a lot of problems. And I hope if you ever listen to this, I hope you get help. You need it. She started to attack him and say she wants to see some shoes a size loafers. She started to attack his fashion sense, talking about he don't have swag, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, just because you saw Kirsten earlier, now you want to be talking to this man anyhow about his fashions. Like, seriously, that is a bit extreme. And she then also was talking about, like, wanting someone to fight for her. Like, you have issues, madam. You have issues, ma'am. You're not ready to date nobody. You're not. It's just giving not ready to date. You know how they say ready to love? No, not ready to date. And maybe there needs to be a channel, a show, TV show called Not Ready to Date. And Ashley should be on the front page of that. She needs to be in it. She really does. Because she is not ready to date at all. Or they need to make an episode of how not to date. Maybe I need to coin these names and start doing these shows and pitching the show somewhere. How not to date. Because Ashley needs to be on the front row of both of those shows because she's moving mad. I don't even really want to talk about Charisse and Nick, to be honest, so I'm just move on. I don't feel like there was much that happened on that side. Charisse's dates are always boring generally, so I don't really care for that. Let's talk about Zadia and Cameron. So Zadia starts talking about how she no longer wants to go on dates and she wants to focus on Cameron. And Cameron was like, she needs to go on other dates. I was like, pow pow. He was like, he doesn't think he'll be able to provide any romance for until like 2 years. I'm like, Zadia, baby, he does not want you. I do not believe what this man is saying. I really don't. I really, really don't. How can someone tell you their romance level is not going to be up the par for like 2 years? Like, seriously. So Zadia was still upset about what she heard from Cameron. Cameron was over there eating and drinking like he ain't eating all day. Like, I was like, okay, guy. Like, it's almost looking like he came on the show to eat. But okay, if you love it, I like it. I feel like they've been on 8 dates already. Cameron, if you don't want that woman, just tell her you don't want her. Like, it feels like you're just trying to make excuses. And also, Zadia, listen to this man. This man really does not want you. He don't want you. Judge Lintola used to always say all the time, never let a man tell you more than once that he don't want you. And this is exactly what that is. You are letting this man tell you in multiple different ways, mama, that he does not want you. That is it. It is so sad to hear, but it is the truth. And I hope that, like, you listen and then you take that on board and move differently next time. Let's talk about Tabari and Vern. So with this couple, I don't really see a lot of chemistry there. I don't really see that attraction there. I feel like there's still a gap there. Like, when we used to see Vern with Jabari, there was a little bit more of a connection there. But with this one, her energy feels off. So they started talking about spirituality. Tabari basically said his dad is Catholic, his mom is Baptist. And Vernisha on the other side is non-denominational. So it sounded like they were getting a little bit deeper in their conversation than they've gotten in a while or ever on the show, which was really good. And when Tabari then asked her if she saw a future with them, she actually said yes. And I'm quite surprised because I don't believe that Vern likes him as much. And so I don't feel like she likes him enough, at least not to that extent. Like, not to the way in which they made it seem. I don't think so at all. I wonder if it is a bit of like settling for Vern because she doesn't really have other options, right? Like, no options that are within her age bracket, no people around what she categorically or generally would go for. And so I feel like that is probably a little bit of an issue as well. So Now let's talk about the mixer. Vern checked Tabari for not messaging her. Her energy was so weird. Like I was just sitting there looking and I was like, she really checked him like it was a little boy. She really checked him. Tabari eventually apologized for not calling her, which I was like, okay, that's good. At least they were able to resolve it. Moving on, the matchmaker Tamika pulled Cam to the side. I wanted to talk about what was going on between him and Zadia. So she basically told him about everything that she had heard, and he was like, yeah, well, when he signed up for the show, he didn't really know that this was what he was signing up for. And Tamika was like, let me stop you there. I'm like, ooh. She basically explained that it's either he's stringing her along or he is falling in love and does not know what to do with it. Well, Tamika, I can tell you for free, he ain't falling in love with nobody but himself. So he starts talking about the fact that he's maybe a little bit scared of commitment to someone that lives far away. I'm like, I'm not buying it. I'm still not buying it at all. He was talking about how he may need more time and that he's a bit scared of commitments. I really don't believe that. I think he's just no longer interested. Does not want to say it. And Zadia doesn't want to accept it because she's emotionally invested. I feel like she needs to just really let him go. She needs to be like, go and don't come back. She needs to be more savage with it. But anyway, she didn't. Now, did you guys see the preview of the next episode? It's about to be hot. I honestly cannot wait, guys. I'll be covering it. So please make sure you like, subscribe, and tap that bell for notifications so you know every single time that I post. Also, don't forget to leave a comment in the comment section below. Let me know what you thought about this episode and let us rate it together with how we came up with that conclusion in the comment section below. And I'll see you guys later. Bye.